Hello, film world. I am the Patric, your host of Tomorrow Comes Movies, the podcast that spoiler talks movies. And each episode, I'll be joined by a different guest co-host from a roster of movie fans to varying degrees. Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in. So we are diving back into the action series. Like I said, I have a lot of them coming. So if you're enjoying it, still going on, still going strong, and you're about to get it in just about a minute or two here. What other announcements do I have? Hidden Gems of Cinema is underway, and you should be seeing some very soon. And like the action series, Hidden Gems of Cinema, will probably run into the end of July. I think I'm doing 2-month series at this point. Also, real quickly here, if you want to join the conversation, whether it's this episode or any episode of Tomorrow Comes Movies or Talk Movies, as I like to say for short, you can do it two different ways. Hashtag TOCMovies, wherever you're at on social media. And then the other method is the same thing. Use the hashtag and also add us wherever you're at on social media. We have the same handle across the board, at TOCMovies. And let's join the conversation. Let's talk movies. Now, this episode features a first-time guest co-host. Now, we've had podcast superstars, and now we have a filmmaker who happens to be, by the way, one of my awesome Twitter mutuals, one of the coolest people I've ever encountered on film Twitter, because I'm never going to call it X, but they are a filmmaker that you need to know about because they are on the rise. So please welcome my awesome Twitter mutual, but more importantly, filmmaker Josie. How are you doing, Josie?
Hello.
You're in a new realm of your film journey. You know, you went from being a movie fan to making your feature length debut, which was called Somnia. And with the
Mhm.
introduction here, I know I didn't give you that question, but I want to talk about your movie Somnia. Can you share a little bit about it?
Uh, yeah, so Somnia, we made it last year. I directed it alongside my husband, and he wrote the film, and we got to premiere it in March at a little local theater. Yeah, it was a dream come true.
And you did not one showing, if I'm correct. You did two.
Yeah, too. It was a early showing and a late showing, both sold out.
Congratulations. Give us the advice here to us young, it's funny I say that because I'm older than you, but young aspiring filmmakers, what is the advice you would give them to do this?
The biggest thing that I kind of like realized is that you truly have to surround yourself with people who are going to cheer you on. They may not be as like excited as you or into film as you, but to have supportive people around you is so encouraging and important. I don't think I could have done it without people just believing in me.
Okay, so I already made the first mistake with your advice. I launched this podcast originally and nobody supported it really. And then I went through. I'm talking about so I think it's wonderful to hear that your advice about surrounding yourself because it is hard I think to find people that can be supportive.
Hmm.
Because it was a journey to bring this podcast back. Oh, Josie, you have no idea the amount of crash
You
outs.
know, oddly enough, I had a lot of really lovely support from family and friends in my like physical life. But I found that the little community that I've made on Twitter or X, they were some of the most encouraging. And I've never met these people. I met one of them, like I met my first ever mutual in person at my movie premiere. And other than that, I haven't met any of them, but they were just so encouraging. Some people donated money. They gave encouragement. Just and even now after it's premiered, they're just still so encouraging. So, it doesn't always have to be people in real life.
Okay, well, mistake number 2. I don't think people are tuning in for what Patrick has to do, but your movie Somnia, I did see it. I was By the way, it's funny to share this with you. I was so shocked when you had sent me a message about wanting if I wanted to watch it early. It's funny to do this with you on a podcast because you can finally see how I react versus what you're seeing on Twitter where it's like there's no personality. In my mind, I
Yeah.
saw the message late and I look at it and I
Mhm.
go, Josie, out of all the people you could have chosen, the Patrick is the made the list. I was top 50 on that if there was a list. It was so funny, but I was honored because I really dug your movie and incredibly proud of you because it's kind of crazy because I think your husband and you are going places, okay? And I can look back and say
Well,
because
thank you.
I'm not gonna make it, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm incredibly pessimistic. You'll find out throughout this whole episode, but I can say in my lifetime when I look back, and we're talking about like 10 years from now when I'm on the porch,
Mhm.
I'm like I interviewed Sophie Thatcher and Josie and Mitchell from of Somnia. Those are gonna be my highlights. I mean, seriously, because
That's what's so funny is that you are so, like, shocked that I asked you, but I asked you because I knew that you had interviewed other people, and I knew that, like, you love to watch movies, and most importantly, you just watch such a wide range of films, and even more importantly, watched very specific films that I felt matched the tone and vibe of Somnia, and I couldn't think of anyone better to review it, honestly.
so if you're wondering why the introduction for Josie is really short in this particular episode, because we've never done an introduction that was this short. Unfortunately, we ran into an audio issue that I've been trying to fix for weeks, and I wasn't able to actually save it. I'll even share this. I tried to hire a audio engineer, and they were not able to save it either. But I believe Josie will come back, and we'll be able to do a introduction where you guys will be able to hear it. However, the actual review of the movie was intact. And so that's why this episode has still came out because I had such a blast talking with her about the movie we're about to review. So I just wanted to let you guys know real quickly here what was going on if it sounded strange. And this concludes your introduction. But we're doing action movies, part of a series called
Tomorrow Comes Movie Podcast presents Woo. Now that's what I call action.
we're covering all action movies. So I had a criteria.
Mhm.
Has to be big explosions, crazy stunts, fist fights with minimal martial arts. I gave you a list and you chose
Mhm.
Desperado, which thank you because not expecting that one to get chosen, to be honest, the way people were choosing movies. But why did you choose Desperado out of the whole list?
Well, I really like Robert Rodriguez, but, um, I just recently bought the whole trilogy on DVD, and I had never seen any of them, and I started out of order. Not that you have to watch them in order, but I watched Once Upon a Time in Mexico first, and I picked it well, I guess it was last year, and I picked it during Hispanic Heritage Month because I'm Mexican, and, I picked it, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, "Oh, wow, this is so good," and so just haven't gotten around to watching the others yet, and so then fast forward to now, and you're like, "Here's this list of movies," and it was really tough because you had some movies on there that I had seen and do love, like Mission Impossible and, I've seen John Wick and Bourne and all that stuff, but I I was like, you know what? I need to use this as an opportunity to watch something that I haven't seen. I love any excuse to do that. To be like, oh, this is on my watch list. I have it on DVD. Let me watch it. And so I went with Desperado.
And you know what's funny? You were one of the last people who got Mission Impossible from the list. I started removing movies because they kept choosing the go-tos, and I was like, nobody.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't do it.
And that's why I'm happy, because I was like, oh, Desperado's different. I haven't seen it in a while. Good choice, because you did remind me, and I owe you a big thanks for this, about the brilliance of Robert Rodriguez, because I had forgot him on my list of action directors. So I put him on it when we did our episode, because I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I totally forgot that this man is really good at action.
Hmm.
And so I'm gonna give these movie facts. By the way, Josie is really a filmmaker, because she got this document earlier, and she had to let me know that I was in 1994 with the movie facts, and we got to go to 1995. So these are the movie facts for Desperado, and you're gonna have to take a shot here. But this movie was released on August 25th, 1995. I actually saw it in theaters. I can't even make this up.
Before I was born.
Yeah, I think you're 10 years younger than me, and let me tell you,
I was born in 97.
90. Wait, you're 90. Wow, I had you at 99.
97. Yeah. I'll
I
be
guess I'll.
30 next January.
Oh wow. But yeah, it's written directed by Robert Rodriguez, starring Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Steve Buscemi, and Danny Trejo. And the synopsis, the correct synopsis of this film, is a musician named El Marachi strolls into town looking to enact his revenge on a person called Bucho. You have not seen Desperado. It's going to make me feel even older that you haven't seen it, but you should watch it, press play, and come back here. And if you don't, then you can hear Josie and I talk about Desperado and be completely lost. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Let's talk movies. What were your first impressions after you finished watching Desperado?
One word. Badass. It just has such a cool vibe, and everyone in it is cool. The two leads are like smoking hot. The tone is so cool. It's got Danny Trejo in it. Yeah, it was badass. It was cool.
I wish I had one word for it. It's very. I would classify this as kind of like a unique experience, because I seen this many times, but I did not remember anything outside of one iconic moment. So it's kind of like reabsorbing Desperado, but yeah, Robert Rodriguez knows how to do action. So yeah, badass would equate to that,
Mhm.
because the only thing I'm not a big fan of, you'll find out, is I don't like. I'm very particular with my humor, and sometimes when things get a little over the top, I'm like, okay, that's enough. But with Robert Rodriguez, I can ignore it because it's so outrageous, but it fits this entire story where I'm like, it's just outrageous, but it's a good outrageous. And you're right. Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, I mean, talk about a match made in heaven in terms of performers.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I walked out of there going, Josie picked. Why did I say like I was like walking out of a movie theater? But I walked off my couch and going, wow, she really picked a really good movie that I think is one of those gems from the '90s that really defines action in my opinion.
No,
And
I mean, yeah, I can see why.
yeah, now with Desperado, were there any particular highlights for you, like certain scenes or certain sequences?
I really like the initial, or not the first, but like the first time in present day that we're seeing Antonio Banderas' character in the bar, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have a weapon." And they're like opening his case, and it's a guitar, but secretly underneath it there's weapons. And then he like does his sleeves, and there's guns in his sleeves, and just so cool.
That actually is one of my highlights too. Also, the whole point where like him and that one guy, they run out of, like, they slide on the bar.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I was dying laughing.
It's so ridiculous, but I let it. It doesn't bother me. other movies, I would be like, "Oh, that's enough." But in this, I'm not laughing, but I love it. It makes me laugh because, like, in my head, because I'm just like, they meet up, and then their guns don't work, and then Antonio Banderas, who's like this real badass, is now like kind of doing like some like comedic tone, like, hold on, hold on, you can leave, like you don't have to do this,
Yeah.
or you could stay, and they go through that whole ordeal with the guns, and then he kind of like Mortal Kombat's him at the end. But yeah, very good scene. Now the funny thing, I'm gonna bring this up, is I forgot that Quentin Tarantino was in this.
It
I
was a
want to
jump scare.
yeah, I want to ask you, did you find that joke entertaining?
I found it entertaining only because it just felt like he was playing himself. I love Tarantino's movies. I really do. I love him as a director, but I can only imagine that he is the most insufferable person in real life. So that just felt like he's like really good friends with Rodriguez.
Mhm.
They've been friends for a long time. And so, like, I'm just imagining him being put in this film in this small role. And Rodriguez is like, you know what? Just be yourself. And so, like, I found it entertaining in that he was just being himself. He's not doing an accent. That's just him.
Yes. I mean, I know it's funny because I'm thinking of another interaction that we've had about me watching that Quentin Tarantino movie, which is really hilarious now that I know how you feel about it. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino, movie wise, I think he's really good. I do enjoy his movies, okay? The joke is ridiculous. But
Mhm.
the thing that made me laugh the hardest was, I can't imagine being the bartender in that joke who got pissed on, is enthused to get $300. Like, if the guy hits me with even a trickle, Josie, of piss, that man is going to be put through the nearest table. I don't care about $300. I wouldn't even be in the area when he was gonna do it. I would have totally stepped to the side, but it just made me laugh in that joke because he says the bartender's all excited until he finds out that the guy who he's gonna get $300 from made more money with the people over there. But I gotta be honest with you, that is one of the most disgusting victories ever. Like, if you're the bartender, be serious here. If you're the bartender, are you excited to get the $300, or you're like, you're out of the bar?
Ow.
Exactly. But you did say you laughed at certain parts, so you did like the humor.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
Robert Rodriguez has a very distinct style of humor, but it works really well, especially with the actors that he chooses to keep in his films. Because I don't know if you noticed, but he has some favorites.
mm,
Like Antonio Banderas is in like 4 of his films. Cheech is in a lot of his films. Danny Trejo, obviously. And so, yeah.
I didn't find it funny. I don't know. I'm like this. I don't know what's wrong with me now these days. I used to laugh at everything. Now I don't. But I think it's really good because it fits, like I said earlier, it fits the tone of the movie. He's allowed to do these outrageous, like, comedic bits throughout the action part because Antonio Banderas sells it well. If you don't have a good
Hmm.
actor, I love how I say this to you as if you're not a filmmaker, like you don't know this, but and I'm dying, by the way, to say this, but yeah, I think Banderas sells it well, really well. And then, like, Salma Hayek does not get enough credit, right? Let's be serious here for a second here.
No, she's
Salma
very
Hayek,
good.
yeah. Why is she not talked about as if, I mean, maybe some people don't think her body of work is as strong as others, but if you ask me, she's very versatile in how she flips the tone throughout this whole movie.
She's really good in this film. And honestly, it made me realize that I don't know that I've seen a ton of her films. I just like know who she is. But she's so good in this. She has really good chemistry with Antonio Banderas, which, is not hard to do. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed her.
Have you seen Fools Rush In with her and Matthew Perry?
I have not, but I know what you're talking about.
That one I think you will like, and I'm about to age myself. Saw that in theaters too. Um, Now with the action. what did you think of it? And what would you classify it as? Like over the top, grounded?
I think that it is over the top, but in a good way. I think it needed to be because that's just his style. I think the film would be the same otherwise. It's very reminiscent of westerns with like a hint of that John Wick extraness. Not that that's a word, but you know what I mean. But yeah, no, I'd say over the top for sure. But like I say that as a compliment, and
Right.
I loved it. I thought it was so good, especially so many explosions. Every time somebody shot somebody out of a guitar case, I wanted to clap. I mean, just
I have to agree. Okay, it's over the top, but there is a joy that I got watching people get shot up and they're flying in the air, and you're just like,
exactly.
that's the way. I just realized I'm about to say that I want to commit murder when I say this, but if I was to, hypothetically, if I'm in a revenge plot, because that's the only way this is happening, I hope that my
Hmm.
shots are hitting people like Antonio Banderas. And also, he does this thing where in that bar scene, if I'm correct, a guy jumps at him while he's on the floor, and he's able to catch him with his feet, and push him back up in the air. I that's brilliant. Okay, like it's ridiculous, but it's
It was
brilliant because it
really
fits.
great stunt work and
Yeah,
choreography.
yeah, and I'm like, and then like in the beginning scene where the people are getting flown in the air, it adds on to the story of his lore because, I mean, if I'm at a bar and someone says that this guy just killed everyone, I immediately pick up my tab and I'm like, "All right, I'm out. I don't wanna deal with it." But yeah, I think it is over the top, but it works for all these scenes because there's one scene, which I'm gonna ask on the next question, I think it is, that is utterly ridiculous, but I wanna try it, but I'm also afraid I'm gonna die if I attempt it. But what is your favorite action sequence in this?
The first time he's like actually in that bar with Cheech's character, and he's like, "Oh guys, I'm so sorry I lied," and then guns.
That originally
I love that scene.
that was originally going to be mine, but then El Mariachi, I know I'm not saying it correct. I can't roll with my tongue from it.
Mariachi, yeah. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's ridiculous. I can't one time I couldn't say granite. I should have just canceled myself at that point. But
That's okay.
you remember when they go to the bookstore, the Bucho's Men and
Mhm.
Carolina, and I'm just gonna call him M because I can't say it right. M, they go upstairs, and I'm amazed that Carolina can just jump, gets kind of goes over that to one building to another with minimal issues.
Insane.
But then two guys come up, and Antonio Banderas' M decides I gotta get over there too. I'm gonna do it a little differently. I'm gonna turn around and shoot people and do like a really big jump backwards. That is, let me tell you, that could not work in any other movie for me where I'd be like, "That's ridiculous," but he sells it so well, Antonio Banderas, and Robert Rodriguez captures it brilliantly. That became my favorite sequence because then we get right after that, the grenades on the floor, and we get that iconic with the explosion fire
Mhm.
and they're walking. How badass would that be to walk? I would love to walk behind some
Incredible.
fire. Yeah,
And it looks so cool.
yeah. I mean,
And I like knew that scene was coming
oh,
based on like stills and whatnot because it's been out for a long time. So it's very exciting to know though. Oh, this is that scene.
yeah, it makes you appreciate practical stunts, right? Like,
Love practical stunts. I love practical effects.
and we need to give Robert Rodriguez his flowers, and we are, as I say,
And I
mentioned.
do, and that's another reason why I picked this movie and why I like him, even though I haven't seen all of his films. He started from nothing, from the bottom. His first film, or the El Mariachi, he did it from the ground up, and it was low budget, and he just knows how to do low budget. He knows how to work with what he's got, and even when he had already established himself as a director, he still kept true to a lot of that practical effects and explosions, and I love it.
Yeah, I think we need to go back to practical. After watching Desperado, I think we need to have everybody in Hollywood watching this because it looks so much better. It really does, and it holds up well for a movie that's 31 years old now.
Mhm.
Oh my god, getting old. But it's a similar question, but I always ask this one: is in Desperado, what did you think was the most insane scenario that happens during this?
Mm, I don't know. I really like the whole gimmick of what's the villain's name?
Oh, Bucho.
Mucho. His bulletproof vehicle gag and watching that unfold was very funny and very cool. Like him shooting it as they're going away, just like that whole thing. Um, I don't know if that's like an answer you were looking for, but I did really like that bit.
No, it's a perfectly good answer because it brings up something that drove me nuts. Is I think Bucho needs to. I know he's gone now, and there's no rest in peace for this because of what he did. But Bucho was a really terrible leader. Like I'm talking about what terrible employer and management skills. I mean, these guys. He can't even get his guys to give him an appropriate phone number for the limo. He's like, "Who has the number for the limo?" And none of them seem
No,
to
like
know. And then I think toward the end of the movie, he killed one of his guys because he's mad at them because they can't find Antonio Banderas' character, and I'm like, "Why are you killing your people? Like, you need as many as you can. This isn't just a regular guitar player, you know this, right?" Like, so it made me laugh that you're bringing up the bulletproof thing because if I'm correct, he doesn't even drive it. He's never hardly ever in it. It's the other guy, the
mm-mm.
second in command, who put all this work into it only for him to
Mhm.
die tragically. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Bucho. Listen, he should have died for what he did to Antonio Banderas' character, but he should also be dying because he's a terrible boss.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
So let's say you are El Mariachi. I know I didn't say that
Okay.
right, and we'll take a shot for every time I
It's
say
okay.
it wrong. You have to reenact one of his stunts in the movie. What do you think you will try?
Mm, it's so tough. There's so many. I do love jumping from one rooftop to the other. I know that I couldn't do that, and they make it look so easy. I'm gonna go with that.
We're on the same page, except the difference is I, for some reason, think I'm extremely confident that I'm going to be able to make that. Don't ask why, but for some reason, I watched it like 5 times trying to figure out how I could do it in a way. But I'm really short, so I'm not entirely sure. I would need a lot of
I am
hops,
too.
but yeah, that would be a cool stunt. But I also feel like you and I are going to end up like the Dwayne Johnson and Samuel L. Jackson from the other guys. We're like aim for the bushes.
Just dead.
Boom. Now, if you could join, so I asked these ridiculous questions. This is what I'm thinking during the movie. If you're in El Mariachi's new band, because we know what happened to his band members, and he says,
Yeah.
Josie, I need you in this. You have the choice between the rocket launcher gun case or the two guns, the two guitar car cases with guns. Which one do you want?
The 2 guitar cases.
Brilliant. This is how you're gonna survive. I want the rocket launcher for some odd reason. I'm confident that I could use it. But speaking of that, those two band members are really cool when they show up, right? It's a really cool thing.
They're
I
so
would
cool.
I just wish they would take cover because they were really yeah, they were
They're just
killing it.
standing there.
Yeah. Antonio Banderas' character is just like he's just sitting there behind cars, and I'm just like, but these two guys were able to go through at least a good 5 minutes of not getting killed, and I was
But
so sad.
Bucho's men were really bad shots.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't hit anything. They made stormtroopers look like good shots. It was
In
rough.
in fact, he has a guy who has a leg injury on top of the roof who gets shot, and then he decides to just jump in the air and shoot Antonio Banderas. like I said, it's ridiculous, but it
A for
works.
effort, though.
Yeah, A for effort, but are you
He did
doing
try.
that? You get shot. Are you
You know what? I think he knew he was dead. So I think I too would just go for it because, like, I don't know, worst case scenario, I jump and I'm gonna die, but maybe I shoot and actually kill Antonio Banderas, and then Bucho like memorializes my name or something.
Okay, so if you take out El Mariachi, Bucho needs to just resign and give you full command if you're able to achieve
But I
this.
might be dead.
Yeah, but if you make it, and let's say you get him, which would really ruin Desperado, but that's okay. Bucho has to retire and give you full control because he can't manage his life if he
He
depended
can't.
on it. This is gonna make you laugh when I tell you my answer. What did you think was the most realistic part of this movie?
Salma Hayek falling in love with El Mariachi. She did not play hard to get for very long, and I cannot blame her.
That's funny. I'm gonna ask you this other question because that comes up, but you're gonna laugh when I tell you what the most realistic situation is. Was when she first comes into the movie and she crosses the street and there's a car accident. I'm convinced that that is the most realistic thing because listen,
It probably is.
Salma Hayek is one of the I truly believe one of the best actresses of her generation, but she's one of the most beautiful women. I could clearly see a car accident happening. I just hope
Oh,
they
she's
both.
stunning, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
The two leads in the film are like gorgeous, and it's.
Yeah.
I feel bad for like the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I mean, I felt bad watching it because I was like, I could never have long hair like Antonio. Like he rocks long hair that only like few men could do. But yeah, he was. I have to give him his flowers too. He probably would cause a car accident too if he wasn't about to get shot in that scene. But yeah,
The
no,
scene where they're like singing,
yeah.
oh,
Um,
so good.
this is one I'm curious about. Was there anything about the movie you didn't like?
No, not really. It's one of those things where like I like on Letterbox, I gave it a 4 out of 5, which would insinuate that maybe I didn't like something about it. But I think that sometimes a movie can be really good and I don't have a problem with anything in it, but it also didn't like it was missing something. Like it wasn't like a gut punch. I feel like it's a gut feeling that rating to a movie. It wasn't like an all-time classic, best film I've ever seen, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I don't have really like anything negative to say about it.
And there is nothing wrong. I've done episodes where the guest or I both say the same thing, and because I think you don't have to look for something negative. Now, what I'm about to tell you is just because I think it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Is when Carolina has they're up in their bedroom and he says, "Is that a guitar?" And she's like, "Yeah." And it was for you and all that. And then eventually they get it and they start playing. He looks like he's ready, Josie, to start playing this guitar with her. And she makes the move, right? Not a problem. It's this 90s lovemaking montage that had me dying because
They just
it's
had to do it.
yeah, it's okay. It's just so strange because they do a Spider-Man kiss before Spider-Man, and then there's some stomach kissing, and then I'm dying throughout this part because I'm just like, wow, they really lit that many candles for this event. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they went all out.
and don't get me wrong, these two clearly had a thing for each other. You can clearly see it, but it just made me laugh. That was the only thing I didn't like because I was just like, maybe 3 candles, maybe next time let him play because I want to hear. This is me complaining about myself. I want to hear him play the guitar, but it's such a funny montage because I'm like everyone always talks about that Spider-Man kiss, and now I'm like no, this is Desperado kiss.
See, and Robert Rodriguez is really good friends with Sam Raimi.
Wow, see, I did not know that. Wow, look at it. You are sharing correct movie facts. Wow, but yeah, that would be the only thing. It's just because I remember it in the '90s. It was so weird to me then as a kid, but at the end of the day, that's
I was
something
going,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are rooting for them. You are like, because he clearly this man has been dealing with a lot. So I'm glad he found somebody, and he found this wonderful lady who makes a bookstore. Who, by the way, in 1995, it's still relevant in 2026 that nobody wants to read books. Isn't that
Tough.
sad?
Nobody's wanting to read books.
Because you read books, right?
Hmm.
So do you rather physical or digital with your books?
Physical. I don't like digital books.
I love that I can ask you a book question because of a bookstore. Because I want to get back into reading. But this movie has a lot going on in it. Now let's go to outside of El Mariachi and Carolina. Was there anybody else character wise that you liked?
Steve Buscemi's character. I love anything he does. He's such a pleasant surprise. I did not expect to see him in this film, but it makes sense. There's always like a really out of place random white man in Robert Rodriguez's movies. In Once Upon a Time in Mexico, it's Johnny Depp and Willem Dafoe, who's playing like a cartel leader, which is bonkers. Uh, and then in this, it was Steve Buscemi and then Quentin Tarantino. And one was a jump scare, and one was a very pleasant surprise. I think he's so funny, and his character was funny.
Yeah, and his name is in the movie.
And I would have liked to have
Buscemi.
seen more Danny Trejo.
Yes, I think Danny Trejo. I always like seeing Danny Trejo. Steve Buscemi, I did like him. It does make me
Love
laugh
Steve
that you
Buscemi.
brought up Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That's what it's called, right? Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Mhm.
I saw that bootleg. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
talking about like my dad. I used to go to LA every weekend as a kid because he used to live there. So we would go there, and when he found out that you could go to Koreatown and get those bootleg movies for $5, where they used a camera to film, that was one of the first ones that we saw. Was Once Upon a Time in
Mhm.
Mexico, and I was fine with it. I prefer to support my movies, but he thought this was the future for him. Somebody got up during the movie and walked in front of the screen, and I was not. I was so pissed at my dad. I tell my dad, I'm like, this is not the future because I don't want to see that guy. But I forgot that William Dafoe is in there and he plays
Yes, he's
unbelievable. But
cartel leader.
I looked up the Desperado cast because I was like, that villain was the one in Fast Five, and I'm like, is he? And he's Portuguese. And then
Like half the cast is not Mexican.
let me ask you, what is your thoughts on that? I'm curious. I have this conversation with some friends.
I give Robert Rodriguez grace because he's Mexican, but it's funny if it were made today, I think it would be different. But for some reason, movies made in the 90s and early 2000s, I just kind of give a pass. And also, Antonio Banderas is famous for playing Mexicans. That man is a Spaniard. He is Mexican. Wait, okay. So he plays Puss in Boots, which might be a Spaniard thing. So really, it's up for interpretation. But he's always like Mexican adjacent in a lot of things, and so including Spy Kids. And so it's just really funny. Danny Trejo's Mexican though,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so is Salma Hayek.
yeah. So at least, and it's hard.
But I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Truth be told, even before our time, even when we were kids, you come a few years after me. I like how I say few, but it was a little longer than that. Yeah, Hollywood does not care. You know, and truth be told, what am I supposed to tell? What are you supposed to tell Robert Rodriguez? He wants to get his movie made. You got to cast what's the best available. With today's time, there are
You do.
more options. There's so many more options, and Hollywood is
Hmm.
more than willing to look for actors that actually fit the role
Yeah.
correctly. Like, I mean, just a couple years ago, it was a big show was Jane the Virgin, you know?
Hmm.
And I believe if I'm correct, if I'm not, I'm gonna cancel myself. But the dad of Jane the Virgin was from Mexico because I thought he was brilliant.
Her dad.
Yeah, like in the movie or the show. My ex
I think, yeah,
loved
I
it.
think he's an actual novella star.
Yeah, and I thought he was brilliant, and I would love to see him do more stuff because very talented. The show's pretty cool too. But yeah, I wanted to ask you that
Mhm.
because I've had conversations, I should say, with friends who don't seem to care if the roles are
No,
cast correctly, and they are also, um, I use the word Hispanic.
at least not for Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I had a friend. I was like, "Oh, do you care?" And she was like, "No, Patrick, I don't care as long as the movie's good." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And we were talking about Blue Beetle. She didn't show up for Blue
Yeah.
Beetle, and I was like, "I'm here for what am I doing over here? I'm waiting for you." She's like, "No, I don't care about that." But yeah, Robert Rodriguez, kind of a trailblazer, would you say, right in the '90s? Because I mean, there wasn't that
Mhm.
many directors coming up through that era that really broke through the mainstream. And I think it's kind of a testament to how talented he is. He's also one of the strangest directors, like George Miller, where they can do like a straight up action movie and then go make like a kids movie. And I'm so perplexed by it, but you
Mhm.
have to maybe because you're a filmmaker, like is is there like in your mind? Because I know you've already made one movie and I'm sure you're working on another. Do you when you're thinking about making another movie, are you looking to do something completely s far from the last movie you did? Like, if with your last one, Somnia, would you now look at it and be like, if you can make it work for how your budget is for your movie, like, you would do something like an action movie?
I don't know because we are working on our next movie,
Mhm.
and it's tonally similar,
Oh, okay.
but definitely bigger production. I don't know because like the thing, like if say Somnia had done like global worldwide success, and I had all the money that I could ask for, would I do a bigger, different? And honestly, I think I probably would. So maybe yes then.
And you did say you're an action fan, so you would probably
Oh, I
wanna do
love
an
action
action
movies.
movie at some point.
No, action's a weird one. I don't know if I'd want to do an action movie.
Hmm.
It would have to be like the right action movie. I would love to do a really big period piece. So my dream project, or one of my dream projects, is to do a Moby Dick adaptation in a gothic Robert Eggers style,
I hope you do make it. I would totally watch
and
that.
then
Wow.
I also want to do a Mothman movie, The Cryptid.
Wait, why does that sound familiar? Why do I feel like I know it, but I don't.
The Mothman, he's a cryptid from Ohio.
Oh, okay. Was it like that Mothman prophecies from
Yes.
Oh, okay, 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 I'm in.
And that's like a drama movie based on the book, the Mothman prophecies. But
Oh,
I want to do a more creature feature Mothman mockumentary.
if you do, I'll be there. Okay. That's what I want. That's what I want. But and I like that your projects, you're thinking of different things. So now it makes sense to me when I see George Miller. I'm putting you in the same category. When I see George Miller,
Thank you.
Robert Rodriguez, and Josie are like, we want to do different things. Because when Happy Feet, I could not believe that was the director of Mad Max. I was like, that's not true. And someone's like, it
Crazy.
is. And I go look and I go, wow, that's a really good movie. But back to
Mm,
Desperado. See, I will go into tangents here. Back to
it's
Desperado.
okay. I do too.
Let's talk about the ending, and then there's a
Okay.
twist. What did you think of the
Mm.
ending, and then what did you think of that twist?
I really liked the ending. First, let me go to the twist. I was watching the movie with my husband, and he called the twist, and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Maybe," and then sure enough, it happened, which I thought was a fun twist. And then as far as the ending, my only qualm with it is that they in the film they're riding off together. Love that, but I couldn't help but think about Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and they kill her off screen. It's just so bizarre. And I'm like, they don't tie in very well at all, which isn't that big of a deal because it's like an unofficial trilogy. But still, I just kept thinking about how important to the plot she was in this film and how they just were like, oh, and then she was killed one day and she's never seen again. And he's sad.
I forgot that she died until you brought it up now, and I don't know if I could watch Once Upon a Time in Mexico not getting pissed off.
Well, it's like a one-off scene. They're like, oh yeah, the cartel come into this town and shoot everybody up, and she's there,
Hmm.
which is why he's going after the. But I'm just like, wow, all that build up for what?
That can't be the same Carolina who jumped over from one building to another.
That's what I'm
Mr.
thinking.
Rodriguez. Yeah, that's insane. And then she shoots somebody at one point when the bookstore gets burned. Yeah, but if we let's say that movie never exists, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, would you say that Desperado ends perfectly for its movie?
Yes, and I wouldn't have made a sequel.
Okay.
As much as I like sequels, I like watching sequels. For the most part, I'm always erring on the side of a lot of movies shouldn't have them, even if I like the sequel. Some movies just end in such a good way that they just shouldn't have. And I say that again while saying that I love sequels.
I think Desperado should have just been a one-off because the way it ends makes me think that he could be out there at any given moment, that he could be out there serving justice to another town that needs him. Somehow, some way, I don't know why, but I put myself in this situation that I would run into him and just be like, I pick up the tab, thank you. But yeah, I liked the way it ended. Now the twist. Shout out to your husband for figuring that out. I pride myself over figuring things out. I forgot, but then when it was revealed, I remember the rooftop, and I'm like, yeah, he was really conflicted up there. Like he had him
Mm-hmm.
in his sights, but the whole brother thing, yeah, it was a very good twist because what Busho says to him makes no sense to me. Is El Mariachi is kind of like, when it's revealed, he's talking to him as brother to brother, right? He's like, the family knew you were going to be causing trouble. And Bucho's talking to him like they're distant family members. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, man, I can't believe you're the one that came after me. And then he says, let me kill Carolina so we can be
Yeah.
even. And I'm like, in what world do you think this is even? Let's take out your brother's two loves in his life, and then what? He's supposed to just his band members are dead too. Like what? His Buscemi's dead
Everybody.
too. What makes
Oh,
this?
is he dead?
Yeah, he got. I think so because because they allude. He says like the one guy who was like my brother is not with me anymore, and then he calls the two band members.
Oh, maybe he did. Maybe I just somehow missed that. It was probably so traumatic I erased it.
Danny Trejo was a. We didn't even talk about him being a beast in there with those knives. That was outrageous.
He was so cool.
He is cool because he's a quite older gentleman, now. But when he was filming that too, but he plays the perfect bad guy who doesn't even have to say a
He
word,
does.
and he's just line up all these people. But yeah, the ending, I really dug it. I just thought it was absolutely ridiculous. This is the stuff that I think
Mhm.
about. Why did you throw your guitar in the middle of the road? What if somebody hits that and gets into a car accident? El Mariachi.
It's also a continuity thing because he
Oh.
threw it out.
Mm.
And then when he drives back, it's in the middle of the road.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't matter, but I was like,
Yeah.
we were watching it, and my husband goes, that's not where he threw that.
Yes. Okay. I wrote that in my notes, and I say he throws it in front of him, like in the field. It looks
He
like, and then
literally,
we
he
see
just
it.
throws it out on the side of the road, way out.
I'm a hopeless romantic, so I love that they are, I love the little, like, "Did I thank you?" when he leaves the hospital, and she's like, "No," and he's like, "I will," and she goes out and gets him. It's a beautiful ending because the man has went through hell, you know? He deserves some happiness. Now, at the expense of killing your brother, I mean, I don't know if you have any
Yeah,
brothers. Do you think if
I
you
do.
okay, can just relate let's just pretend that you are El Marachi, not your real you kill your brother. Any Do you feel as happy as he was at the end of that movie? Or is there any, like, second thoughts?
If my brother was as evil as Bucho was, I probably feel like a pinch of remorse, but also, you know,
Hmm.
maybe the world's better off.
Well, no worries, Josie. I'm about to take it a step further. I haven't spoken to my brother in 13 years. That's how real it is. If I have to enact my revenge and it's in this particular story, I wouldn't even have a second thought.
But like, if you have a sibling that you're not close to, or, and in his case, his brother's literally a murderer,
Yeah.
and he's like, let me kill this woman for no reason, basically. I definitely think he, we can tell that he feels a little remorse, but it's like, he's not going to lose sleep.
Yeah. I mean, and he shouldn't, because I think he's on to better and better things. Actually, true story.
He is.
I'll tell this story real quick. One time I was talking to my brother, and my dad preferred me over my brother, and I said to him, I'm not even kidding. I said to him, "Dad, when Dad had you, it was like having the first Terminator, right? It's pretty cool, right?" But then Dad was like, "Hold on, I think I can do better." And then I showed up, and I'm like, "T2 Judgment Day," and my brother's like, "I'm gonna kick his ass." And my dad's like, "Leave your brother alone," and it made me laugh because you have to know movies to understand that joke. He didn't understand the joke. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, T2's the better movie. That's what I'm trying to tell you, dude. But yeah, I mean,
And that's a debate in and of itself.
yeah, that is true. But I'm glad that we shared that. But I'm glad that our brothers were not in this story. And that I think the twist was good. I wish I caught it like your husband did. Because if you now I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
watch
kind of wish
it.
I did too.
Yeah, when we watch it again, you're gonna watch it again, you're gonna catch it quicker and you're gonna be like, how did I not see that? Um, but
They
you're
did a really good job of veiling it.
Yeah, because like, he keeps saying, like, "I'm looking for Bucho," but he doesn't seem to know what Bucho looks like, which
Mm-mm.
now that I watch, it's playing in my mind again. I'm like, "Yeah, it does. It does." Now here we go. Now I think you did mention, but well, you can share it again. Out of 100%, this is how I do it. Out of 100%,
Okay.
what would you rate Desperado?
I've never rated something out of 100. I'd say like a 80, 85.
Yeah,
It's a really good movie.
I get
Really good action film. I'm gonna go 80.
I'm always on the same wavelength with my guests. It's funny. I would have it at an 80. I love how over the top it is, which is really rare for me because I saw Bad Boys 2 and I wanted to put Michael Bay through a table because it was outrageous what was happening in that movie. But Robert Rodriguez, on the other hand, he 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 tells a story that's not overbloated. It's a very good runtime. The action is insane, but there's not too much what I call like fat. Like there's not too much like unnecessary story beats. Like the humor works, even when like he discovers the kid that he showed the guitar thing to. He discovers
Mhm.
that kid is basically the whole town is moving drugs around for Bucho. Like that whole thing where the kid's like, I need come over here. That's not the guitar I need. And he's like, why? I love,
Mhm.
yeah, the humor is well balanced in this. So yeah, 80 for me. Now here are the last questions. Do you think that Desperado is a definitive 90s movie?
Yes.
Okay. Same question. Definitive 90s action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm double yes. Here we go with the same question. It's going to be the same question, two actors. Definitive Antonio Banderas? And same question for Salma Hayek movie.
I'm gonna say yes to both because it's a movie that I know that she's in, whereas I can't off the dome think of a ton of her other films. And even though I do know a lot of his films, I know that this is a really big piece of his filmography. Yes.
You know what's funny? And here's the last question. It's the same question. Definitive Robert Rodriguez movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yes, across the board because I'm pretty sure that this movie was such a big deal because I remember my dad really, really dug it. I think he had a crush on Selma Hayek, to be honest. That's what it really was. But he, yeah, this movie put them all on the map because I remember after this movie that I would see them pop up in all kinds of movies, and then Robert Rodriguez took his career to different things with like Spy Kids and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. Definitive movie. Question I want to ask you, the last one. Well, the second to last one. Why are we
Yeah.
not talking about Desperado as much as we did 31 years ago? Because it still holds up very well.
I don't know. And I'm actually kind of shocked that I hadn't seen it before. It feels like a movie that like my older brother would have watched, but somehow it had escaped me and I didn't hear and learn about it until adulthood. So, and that's having watched, like knowing who Robert Rodriguez is. But
Yeah,
but I don't know. More people should talk about it though.
yeah, because I'm perplexed because it is so unique, and everyone loves the practical stunts. We talk about this all the time, right? And it makes me wonder: is this movie like a good example would be Mad Max Fury Road, right? Everyone loves it now.
Hmm.
Okay, my thing is, and same with the John Wick movies. I'm like, will they one day go the Desperado route? Because Desperado was talked about throughout the '90s as being really good action, and it reminded me when I saw it this time. But I'm like, why are we not? Why do we pick and choose which movies? Because I mean, I don't know how you feel about Quentin Tarantino's best movie, but I think that Desperado might be the Pulp Fiction of his filmography, in my opinion. Depending on how you feel about that movie, but usually everyone
Okay.
loves Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Most people, I should say now. I should say, let me state that because that's a little different story now. But to me, I wonder
Hmm.
why we don't talk about Robert Rodriguez's Desperado in that same breath that we would say with Tarantino with Pulp Fiction.
I don't know. And that's a good question. I've never thought about it.
Yeah. These, by the way, I just thought about it like 30 seconds ago. So yeah, I don't know either. Now the last one, you already answered it, but I'm about to reveal how disappointed I am. Is would you rewatch this and or own it on physical media?
Yes, and I already do own it.
I don't, and I'm embarrassed. And I thought I had this one too, and I don't, so I have to own it. Definitely would rewatch it, and that
I found
basically.
the trilogy set at a thrift store.
Oh, really? Wow!
Hmm.
And you got a good price?
Oh yeah, it was like $5.
Whoa, good for you. And this concludes Desperado, and I can't believe this, but I reached the commando timer. There's a reason why I call it that, but I want to thank you so much for coming on and helping
Yeah.
me remember something from my past. Like, this is really strange to wax poetry about Desperado, but that was a movie that I had remembered as a kid with my dad.
You're welcome, and I had a blast.
Yeah, and
I'm glad
so
I had an excuse to finally watch it.
yeah, and if people want to follow you, Josie, where can they go?
So I am on Twitter. Trying to think of my handle. I think it's the underscore other underscore JB. It's something like that. And then I'm on Instagram, and it's Josie underscore Robinson. And I talk a lot about I talk about film on there as well as have my production studio link to it. So I share a lot about my filmmaking and stuff,
Perfect. Yeah, and I will.
as well as just what I'm watching. And then I'm on Letterboxd.
Perfect. Yeah, I will. I will link it all, and of course, I'm glad you brought up your production company. That people can follow that as well, so they can.
Yes, it's Fort Stoweville.
Perfect. And by the way, awesome. What is the origin of that name, real quickly here?
So my husband who wrote the script, Somnia is based on a play that he wrote. And he has other things that he's written, and he's got this novel that he wrote, and in it there is a town that he created called Stoweville, and these kids in this particular story have built a fort in their backyard, and they call it Fort Stoweville. And the story is a really good story, and it's one that we both really like. It's one of my favorites. But when we were thinking of names to name the production stuff, I don't even remember who suggested it. It was probably him. Either way, somebody brought it up, and it just sounded so cool. Also, no one else is going to have it because it's a made up name. Yeah, and it just stuck. And so the logo is a tent in reference to the kids building the fort. And so,
Wow. Well, thank you. Everyone should follow you because you are a emerging filmmaker who's on the rise.
well, thank you.
And I hope I can have you come back on. If I always say this with every guest that
Definitely.
they're sick of me, that they're never gonna want to come back. I don't know why I'm like this, but yes,
No, I love talking about film. So anytime,
perfect. Well, thank you.
anytime, any theme.
Thank you so much, Josie, for coming on to the show. We can't wait to have you back on. And for all the listeners out there, this is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, wherever you're at on podcasts, wherever you get them, like whatever app you're using, make sure you hit the follow so you can stay up to date when new episodes drop. And remember, we're on everything. iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Deezer, you name it, we're on it. Now, over on the YouTube side, if you're watching the video version, and just know we do have more episodes coming out that will also be actually in video. Some of these, when they're audio only releases, you just see the artwork, but we got some that you're gonna be able to see me again as if you wanted to see me again. Let's be serious here. But if you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed and you hit the bell notification to stay up to date when new episodes drop. YouTube.com/@TOCMovies. Now, social media wise, if you haven't already, please follow us wherever you're at on social media @TOCMovies, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And there you can get little teases of what's to come too, right before we drop it. And last but not least, if you would like to come on to the show, you're always welcome to come on the show. If you're an awesome Twitter mutual of mine and or somebody I know in real life, I would love to get more people that I know in real life because there's so many stories out there that people want to know about the Patric. Why did I say that? Nobody wants to know about the Patric. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, if you're either an awesome Twitter mutual or somebody I know in real life, you can text me if you have my number, or you can DM me, and you're welcome to join. Just remember, it's an audio and video podcast. So if you're comfortable with it, I will release both versions. If not, we can do audio only release. This is an audio only release. And I'll still see you when we record, but it will not come out. At the end of the day, I just want to talk movies with you, so I really can't complain either way. But yeah, let me know. There's plenty of movies to talk about. And that is it. I am the Patric, your host. Until next time, stay tuned for another episode of Tomorrow Comes Movies.